Hello, this is Mr. Bradsby. It's a pleasure to be with you today. Today we're going to look at something a little different, and it's patterns. In this case, here's a number pattern. It's the number 1 here. The pattern is 1, then 4, then 7, then 10, then 13. Well, there's a pattern here. It's each one of these is represented with a rule. And the rule tells us, how did I get from 1 to 4? How did I get from 4 to 7? How did I get from 7 to 10 and 10 to 13? What rule am I following here so I can build this pattern? Okay? What we want to do is see if we can see a relationship. Okay? What's the difference between 1 and 4? Well, to get from 1 to 4, I add 3. To get from 4 to 7, I add 3. To get from 7 to 10, I add 3. Okay? So each one of these, does it work for 10 to 13? Yes, you add 3. So the rule is add 3. Okay, so what I want you to do now is give me the next 3 items in this. So we have 1, 4, add 3, 4 to 7, add 3, 7 to 10, add 3, 10 to 13, add 3. Put me on pause and write down the next 3 in this sequence. Okay, well, let's see. The next 3, if I add 3 to 13, I get 16. If I add 3 to 16, I get 19. If I add 3 to 19, I get 22. So that's the next 3 in the sequence. I hope that makes sense. It's a pattern. We look for the pattern and see if we can figure out what. It's like a puzzle, isn't it? What is it that'll make this work? All right, so we'll look at another one. Here's a number sequence, and we have to figure out how did I get these numbers in the sequence. So 2 to 4. Well, one thing we could think about is it addition? Add 2 and I get to 4. Then I go to 4 and I add 2 and I get 6, not 8. So the rule is not add 2. 2, 4, 8, 16. How do I get these numbers? What is the rule that might work? Okay, think about that. What do you think? What do you think will make this work? What do you think the next one will be? 2, 4, 8, 16. Well, the next one is 32. What is our rule? Well, we've been studying multiplication. So this was an addition rule, add 3. This might be a multiplication rule. 2 times what is 4? Well, we know 2 times 2, right? Okay, 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 8 is 16. 2 times 16 is 32. So our rule is multiply by 2. Okay? So, what I want to do is have you supply the next 2 of these. See if you can continue and supply the next 2, and the rule is multiply by 2. So I'm going to have you put me on hold for a second, on pause, and do those, write down what these next 2 are. Okay, well, let's see what happens. Then if we multiply 32 by 2, we get 464. If we multiply 64 by 2, 8, 12, 128. So those are the next 2 members of the sequence, 64 and 128. So this is an example of an addition sequence. It follows a rule. Each one you add 3 to get to the next one. And this is an example of a multiplication sequence, a pattern. This is a pattern, and the pattern is multiply by 2, multiply by 2, multiply by 2. Okay. Okay, here's another example. Let's see if you can figure this one out. What is the rule? I go from 3 to 6, 6 to 9, 9 to 12. What is the rule for this one? Okay, so I'm going to put here your rule is, so I'd like you to figure out the rule, and then I want you to do 2 more of these, okay? Do 2 more of these and give us the rule. So put me on pause when you get that completed, write out what the rule is, and then take and do 2 more in the sequence. All right, I hope you got it. If you look, you add 3, you get to 6, add 3, you get to 9. So this is an addition rule. We are adding 3, right? Add 3, add 3, add 3. So the next one, you add 3 to 12, you get 15. Add 3 to 15, you get 18. So that's the next 2 members of this pattern. Okay, so there's some examples of numerical patterns. A couple dealing with addition and one dealing with multiplication. Okay, now here's a pattern that you may be easier for you, more familiar. So what do we have here? It's not a numerical pattern, it's a picture pattern. Circle, triangle, circle, triangle, 2 more. So you could put me on pause real quickly and write down what you think the next 2 of this pattern, this picture pattern. Okay, it's a circle, triangle, circle, triangle, circle, triangle. So that's the next 2. The next 2 are this circle and this triangle. So that's a picture pattern. That's pretty simple, isn't it? Well, let's try another picture pattern. Okay, so here we have another pattern. It's a picture pattern, 0 or a circle, square, triangle, triangle, circle, square, triangle, triangle, circle, blank, blank, triangle. Well, it's a pattern what I'd like you to do is supply these two blanks. Okay, here's one of the blanks, here's a blank. What are the two figures, the circle, square, or triangles, that go into these two here? You can put me on pause and complete that. Okay, so here we have it. Circle, square, triangle, triangle, circle, square, triangle, triangle, circle. Well, after the circle comes a square, that's what we've got, and then after that comes a triangle, and after that comes another triangle. So this is the repeating pattern. Okay? Circle, square, triangle, triangle, circle, square, triangle, triangle, circle, square, triangle, triangle. So there's another picture puzzle. What you have to do, it's a picture pattern. It's like a puzzle, and you try to figure out what is repeating. Okay, well, here's another numerical puzzle. It's a pattern here, and what we got to do is figure out, what are they doing? How are they making this pattern? Well, it's 6, 7, 10, to 11, to 14, to 15, to 18. See if you can figure out what the next two in this pattern is. Okay? Put me on hold and try to figure out what they are. This is a little challenge. It's a kind of enrichment. See if we could figure this out. It's kind of fun to take puzzles that are a little harder. I'm going to give you a hint. The hint is that it uses two numbers, not just one like we had with the others, but it uses two numbers. So see if you can figure out how this pattern works. Put me on pause. Well, I hope you got it. Maybe you did, maybe you didn't, because it's kind of tricky. Well, if we look at multiplication, 6 times what gets 7? 7 times what? Well, that doesn't look like multiplication, does it? Well, to get from 6 to 7, we add 1. To get from 7 to 10, we add 3. To get 10 to 11, we add 1. To get from 11 to 14, we add 3. 14 to 15, is this making sense to you? Do you see in a pattern now? Add 1, add 3, add 1, add 3. The rule is add 1 and then add 3. Okay. So to get 15 to 18, we added 3. To 18 to 19, we add 1, and there's your answer, 19. Add 3, you get 22. So that's a little different, a little tricky, but I thought it was kind of fun to look at something that might be a little more challenging. So what we've looked at here today are patterns. We had both numerical patterns and picture patterns. I think your teacher probably would like to discuss this with you further or answer any questions you might have. And probably you can do some more practice on patterns. Kind of fun, isn't it? Thanks for listening with me. To me, have a good day.